Good morning, guys. Today we're going to go over the last step of the dispatch process, which is the record and evaluate step. So for step 6, we must notate all interactions within ServiceTitan, fill out forms such as client concern, refund, etc. as needed. Notate for call center success when return calls must be made. Accurately record all technician debrief information and forms. Email all parties when dealing with need-to-know information. Review calls for accuracy. Avoid major mistakes. Evaluate metrics pertinent to maximizing and advancing our departments. And track and report new information to managers to better company performance and culture. So what does that mean? Notes. That is the biggest thing. Is notating as if we're communicating completely online, as if we couldn't speak to each other in the same room, making sure that we're putting everything possible on the dispatch board and within the jobs. This is how we communicate to each other, and we want to make sure that we're not relying on being able to just shout to each other across the room. We want to make sure that we're communicating in the notes, in the customer profile, using gray bars. Any possible way that we need to be communicating needs to be on the physical board. So if we're calling and we left a voicemail for a customer to schedule a pre-sold job, we need to be making sure we're notating the customer profile that we did that. If we were calling to update or dispatch or calling to ask them for more information, we need to make sure that we leave those notes in the job. Anything we can do to better communicate, and especially for the call center, you want to leave the job so that the call center can pick up the phone call and kind of leave where we left off. Same thing for other dispatchers. You want to be able to leave the call so if the technician calls in, the other dispatcher is able to kind of pick up where you left off. So make sure if there is anything that is needed to know for the job or any actions that you're doing, that you're communicating it somehow in the physical job or with a gray bar on the board. It helps us communicate, be more efficient, and be able to kind of pick up, like I mentioned, where other people left off, so we're more streamlined and take care of the customer better. Reporting client concerns, damages, injuries, anything that happens in the field, making sure that we're doing the proper way of reporting it. If it's collections, making sure we're filling out the collection form. If it could be a potential client concern, making sure that we're going and filling out the client concern form. We are the eyes for the field, so we're the ones that are in the office and needing to report anything that happened in the field. Be specific in your debriefs. If there is so much information, Olivia does a great job of giving an example to this to anybody that usually trains. When you have a technician calling in and they're telling you a paragraph of stuff and you go and look at the summary of findings or go look at the notes and none of that information is there, tell the technician to type up those notes. We're not here to dictate everything that somebody is saying to us. We're here to put in extra information in the job. So it's a, two-sider there that we need to make sure that we're being as specific as possible in our notes, but also if we're taking notes and we start to realize that this is a lot of information and it's not coming from the source, that we ask the technician to take an extra 2 minutes and put in his documented information. Email communication for extra clarity. That just means making sure that we're sending an email if there's a complicated job. It makes it so much easier. I think we've all noticed when we send an email, we have, a couple people included for everybody that needs to know the information. We all get on the same page. It makes it a lot easier because we know that when there's a difficult job or a job that may be unusual, if one person has all the information and doesn't share it, then the next person ends up having to take the time to pull up the same information, look through the history, and come to the same conclusion. So when there's difficult jobs, just make sure we're sending a quick email, just letting people know what work we've done on the job and what to look out for. Focus on the job at hand when closing. Focus on that job. Make sure that everything for that job is closed out. I've gone over this numerous times, but I still stand true with it. Do not complete the job unless it is 100% completed. That is the only way to make sure that it's called out on the board that the job is not in completion status, which means that we have not deemed that it is okay to be closed out. This is the best reminder to go back, check, make sure that the sold by is there, the business unit's there, the big five that we need to look out for is there, making sure all the information is there, because we are the final check. If we're allowing a technician to move through, that's on us saying that we allowed him to move through, that he had all the information on the job. We can't get upset with technicians when they don't have the information if we're the ones that allowed them to move on without the information. And finally, track performance and report trends. This just means, keeping up with the KPIs and making sure that, if guys are changing what they're good at or getting better or getting worse at certain scenarios, that we're paying attention to it, that we're reporting, calling it out, and adjusting the calls that we send to them. And reporting any trends. If you start to see that someone keeps doing the same thing day in and day out, or, only 2 guys keep struggling on this type of call, report that information. Send that information to myself and the service manager, so that way we're able to see those trends and be able to do something about it. As a dispatcher, we're the ones looking at the jobs more closely than anybody in the entire company, so we're going to start noticing trends. There's also other trends that we could be noticing, like, hey, we're getting a recall on this certain part over and over and over again, or we're getting a warranty on a certain type of fill valve over and over and over again. I've had instances where I've reported things like that, and then when we end up digging in and getting more information, we find out that actually, a part that we're getting from a manufacturer is defective and continues to be defective, and then we transfer and use a different part. So making sure that we're reporting all of that information. But those are the 6 steps. So good job, guys. We went over all of them. Just make sure that you're reviewing your cube side, focusing on your prepare, your schedule, your dispatch, making sure we're updating customers, optimizing every call that we have, and in my opinion, the most important part, recording and evaluating all of the closed jobs and the information that we have. Thank you.